From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, Southern California taking the full impact of the state's first tropical storm in more than 80 years. We're tracking Hillary's path. And from LA County down to Baja California, a look at what the storm so far is leaving in its wake as floodwaters rise across the region.
Stay safe, stay informed, and stay home. The worst of the rains is potentially left to come.
And a different kind of impact here in the Bay Area as Hillary strands travelers heading south by the hundreds. Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, the earth shook, the skies poured as the Southland was also shaken today by a magnitude 5.1 quake. At the same time, an almost unheard of tropical storm dumped rain on the desert. In Los Angeles, freeways are flooding. The Highway Patrol is reporting more than 100 incidents in the greater LA area. 100 miles east of San Diego at the border town of Calexico, boulders blocked part of State Route 98. In fact, the heaviest rains are falling on the desert. Above Palm Springs, the San Jacintos have picked up almost 7 inches of rain. Some roads in Palm Springs are shut down by the flooding. Meteorologist Aaron Peck is tracking Hillary and the rain we still might get in the Bay Area. Dial in is at the Oakland airport where dozens of flights were canceled. But first, we'll get to Jason Allen. He's live in Palm Springs, which already has gotten half as much rain in a day as they usually get in a year. Jason?
Brian, it's pretty amazing, and now we have some gusty winds that have joined that heavy rainfall. You can see the impacts from it as well. The roads that have been closed, the washes have been filled up with all of that rain that you talked about now rushing down out of the mountains.
Hillary slammed into Baja, Mexico Sunday morning as a tropical storm. It's expected to blast into Los Angeles during the early evening hours.
This is an unprecedented weather event.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass urged residents to hunker down.
Avoid unnecessary travel. Make sure your emergency kit and essential devices are on hand, and ensure that all of your devices are charged.
Several mountain communities are under evacuation orders because of the potential for mudslides. Officials are warning people of flash flooding. The LA River, usually a trickle, is now raging. And along the coast, crews have erected berms on the beaches. Residents in Long Beach scrambled to fill sandbags.
I'm afraid people might die. Flooding where people lose some property is one thing, but flooding where people die is another.
And farther inland, the deserts may see a year's worth of rainfall in just one day. Several roads here in the Palm Springs area are closed. Runoff from the mountains will turn these now dry washes into raging rapids.
The desert goes from 0 to 100 quickly.
The Palm Springs Fire Department has 11 swiftwater rescue crews staged.
We have a big history, unfortunately, of people going around the barricades, people going through them. And it looks like it's only 2-3 inches of water coming through. What they don't understand is the whole road's washed out below it, and it could be 3-4 foot deep.
Some aren't letting Hillary impact their weekend. People are visiting Disneyland, surfers are taking advantage of the waves, and Las Vegas is open for business, where heavy rain is expected next. Forecasters say the storm will move through fast, but the overall impact of this rare weather event has yet to be determined.
The city of Palm Springs declared a local emergency here within the last couple of hours just because of so many roads being closed. Brian, I was just talking to a firefighter who does swift water rescues. They really still don't know what to expect for the rest of the night, and they're prepared for the water to keep rising in some cases.
As they should. It's going to take a while for that 7 inches of rain at the top of Mount San Jacinto to get down to Palm Springs. And when it does, I mean, you just don't think of swift water rescue in Palm Springs in the same breath, but you also don't think of tropical storms in Southern California. Live in Palm Springs, that's Jason Allen. Jason, thank you. Yep, we'll check back with you in the next half hour. As if the rain isn't enough. At 2:41 this afternoon, a magnitude 5.1 quake slammed into Ojai, 35 miles east of Santa Barbara. Since that main shock, there have been 9 aftershocks in the magnitude 3 range. Caltech says there's a 5% chance of the 5.1 being followed by an even bigger quake. And there has been damage. Wine bottles and wine glasses flew out of shelves at a wine shop in Ojai. Broken pieces were put into cardboard boxes. Worker there said that she's shaken up, but she's okay. All of this is happening at the same time as the tropical storm. Just hours before Hillary reached the U.S., it brought heavy rains into Mexico. And Darren Peck's got not only the tropical storm, But also the quake, Darren.
Just a second to juxtapose that. A 5.1 earthquake is enough that just about everybody throughout LA felt it, at least lightly. At the same time, there was a tropical storm moving over all of Southern California. There's the epicenter, Ojai, small community in Ventura County. The map shows you how the earthquake was felt. The light shades of green tell you it was felt lightly. We don't have any significant reports of damage. A 5.1 is enough. You would get wine bottles off shelves close to the epicenter, but everybody felt it. Here's how this lines up. We're going to put Hillary, tropical storm, on top of this map now. You've got the epicenter of the earthquake there to show you how these two line up with one another. Hillary's the much bigger deal. So let's focus on that now, because what we're seeing on the current first alert Doppler in the radar is this is the main event. At this point in the day, right through the middle of Sunday afternoon, this is when the most sustained, heaviest rain is falling. We've already seen images of street flooding throughout greater Los Angeles, through Orange County, and we saw in the coverage a moment ago, it's the deserts which are still going to be seeing the worst of this. We're not looking at tropical storm warnings anymore. That much we already know. There is a tropical storm over Southern California. This map is a little more nuanced. It's specific to where the flash flood warnings are. If you see all of LA County over here in the flood warning, that's for urban flooding along streets, the LA River, some freeway underpasses and overpasses. This is the stuff out here in the deserts where we expect those washes to fill, many of them on historic levels, because the rain that is still to come. Brian mentioned 7 inches on Mount San Jacinto. That's out in the deserts. We're only about halfway through this. There's going to be a lot more to go. So as we play that forward, that's the accumulated rainfall totals for what is still to come between now and tonight. We're going to experience a small piece of this tomorrow. I'm going to go over that in our forecast. I'll show you when and how much we might see. It's not a lot. It's not a major impact. But don't be surprised, a little bit of rain for our forecast on Monday. I'll see you with that in the complete first alert forecast in a few minutes. Brian, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Just hours before Tropical Storm Hillary reached the U.S., it brought heavy rain to Mexico's Baja Peninsula. Floodwaters rushed through the streets of one of its coastal towns along the Gulf of California. The state's 2 largest school districts canceled classes tomorrow because of the rain. Los Angeles Unified and San Diego Unified both told students to stay home, even though, frankly, the weather's pretty much going to be clearing up tomorrow. For San Diego, Monday was supposed to be their first day of class. Governor Newsom also declared a state of emergency yesterday. The governor said that more than 3,900 CHP officers were moved to Southern California, along with 2,000 Caltrans workers, 350 National Guard soldiers, and nearly 30 swift water rescue and urban search and rescue teams, as we just heard. That includes some local rescue crews. Hillary is affecting us, too, and not just because of rain. It's because of delays at every airport in the Bay Area. They've all been affected. Don Lynn is live at Oakland International Airport with the story of a number of travelers making last-minute changes. Hey, Don.
Right, Brian, of the 3 major Bay Area airports, Oakland is seeing the most disruption. Let's take a look here at the big boy. You see a lot of red and yellow. Red stands for cancellation, yellow for delay. And they're saying about half of all flights here canceled. That's a big amount. Now, let's walk down to the TSA security checkpoint. Typically on a Sunday, very busy day. A lot of folks wrapping up their vacation or coming back home. But you can see at the checkpoint right there, minimal line, very short, not that many people, very manageable. Workers tell me it's been a pretty quiet day for the most part.
Tower Redwood 958 will be ready for departure, 1 left.
223 flights canceled and grounded today at the 3 major Bay Area airports. 240 delays by this afternoon, that number growing by the hour.
My flight got canceled today. I was supposed to fly out of San Jose, but instead I was able to find a flight out of Oakland at 1:35. Your flight is going out. Thank you.
Catherine Jabala finally found a flight to go home to LA. She's been stressing and scrambling all morning. She was visiting her boyfriend for the weekend.
Pretty lucky, yeah. I'm happy that I was able to get it. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled. I mean, that would suck.
She later found out her flight was delayed. Ebony Hughes shares the same Southwest flight. She's trying to make it to LA for a Monday work conference.
It depends on what they want to do. I'll either not go or we'll be sleeping here until they let us figure out something.
United 1187, visual 28 right side.
The canceled flights are mostly going in and out of cities impacted by the tropical storm, like San Diego, LA, Palm Springs, and Las Vegas. Oakland International says 80 cancellations today. That's 50% of their flights. San Jose Maneta International reports 81 flight cancellations. That's 24% of all flights. The biggest Bay Area airport, San Francisco International, has 62 cancellations. That's only 6% of their flights. The airport looked pretty busy this afternoon with a lot of pickups and drop-offs.
I'd rather be safe than try to fly out back home and something happens on our flight. So rather be safe than sorry.
Despite the added stress of delays and cancellations, many travelers came with a positive attitude, saying safety is first.
My family's here, so if my flight gets canceled, I can just go stay with them. But I want to go back to my dog.
As for Catherine, she wonders what it'll be like once she gets home.
It's weird. I don't know. I mean, normally when there's a hurricane, I would go to somewhere else. We don't get rain in Southern California.
Tennessee 5397 heavy, Quiet Bridge, visual 28 right.
Tennessee 5397 heavy, San Francisco Tower.
Yeah, we have a crew that just landed in Las Vegas about an hour ago to cover the storm in the coming days. Reporter Max Terrell told me he was leaving from Oakland International Airport. 2 delays, but he made it just an hour ago, and he'll be providing more coverage of the storm in the coming days here on Channel 5. But Brian, I just checked with Flight Aware, which is reporting even more cancellations and delays since 3 o'clock. So things are changing. So we're seeing more cancellations and delays at the 3 Bay Area airports. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, at the Oakland airport, that's Da Lin. Da, thank you. Welcome back. Recovery efforts continue on Maui this weekend, 12 days after the fires broke out. The death toll has now climbed to 114. Cadaver dogs have covered more than 85% of the burned area. Still, more than 1,000 people are unaccounted for. Officials say that because of the intense heat of the fire, some of the people may never be identified. At the same time, frustration is mounting about the controversial decision to not activate those emergency sirens.
Didn't have any messages or any warnings at all that the fire was coming until the police officer was actually in my neighborhood. I want to see changes. There needs to be a better emergency system here put in place.
Hawaii's Governor Josh Green was on Face the Nation today and had this to say about the emergency system.
The challenge that you've heard, and it's not to excuse or explain anything, the challenge has been that historically those sirens are used for tsunamis. Do I wish those sirens went off? Of course I do.
President Biden will be in Maui tomorrow to meet with first responders and with victims. Back here in the Bay, the smoke advisory extended through Monday. That's because of smoke drifting down from dozens of Northern California wildfires for the most part. A lot of those fires to the north were started by lightning. And as Devin Feely reports on CAL FIRE watching all this, they are, and very carefully.
According to CAL FIRE, the outer bands of what was once Hurricane Hillary caused more than 1,500 lightning strikes across Northern California.
It is bringing up lightning through the region. We are monitoring it, and we're keeping a good eye on it right now.
CAL FIRE Assistant Chief Stephen Bly says each lightning strike has the potential to spark a fire, sometimes in rugged, remote, difficult-to-reach terrain.
We did have 11 acres up in the east San Jose, Mount Hamilton area. That was lightning caused.
CAL FIRE was able to quickly put that blaze out, but that was not the case in 2020, when the SCU fire burned nearly 400,000 acres and destroyed more than 200 homes and other buildings. CAL FIRE says they're closely monitoring the lightning strikes, hoping to prevent history from repeating itself.
We're monitoring it. We get reports out daily from the northern region, shows us where the strikes were and how we can kind of keep basically patrol on that if we need to. Northern region is also sending out aircraft as with infrared to kind of look for heat signatures.
So far, this strategy is working, in part because CAL FIRE knows that even the biggest blaze started as a small fire somewhere.
We have patrolled that. There has been absolutely zero smokes found. That fire is actually contained and controlled.
I hate to pass this news along, but if you have been in the Bay Area a while, you, like me, will remember Ross McGowan and Ann Fraser with their People Are Talking program. It aired for years here on KPIX. It was a local program. This weekend, we learned that Ann died at the age of 83 up in Oregon. Devin Feely has a look at her story and Ross's and the television of what suddenly seems a long time ago.
San Francisco, it's Channel 5's People Are Talking.
Ann Fraser, along with Ross McGowan, hosted People Are Talking from 1978 to 1992. It was a highly rated talk show broadcast daily from our studios in front of a live audience.
You guys look like you're on top of a wedding cake. So cute. Aren't they the most groomed? The thrill is gone away.
From B.B. King to President Jimmy Carter, everyone who was anyone wanted to talk to Ann and Ross.
Black, that's a very lovely color, isn't it? You know whose favorite color that is? Say,
Their remote shows were legendary. Ann and Ross hosted the first live broadcast from the AIDS ward at San Francisco General, as well as from inside San Quentin Prison.
I want to know from you what it was like the first day you walked into this prison.
It was, to me, it was like a hellhole.
Good morning and welcome to a very unusual edition of People Are Talking.
Ann also shed a little clothing with her co-host to broadcast the show from a nudist colony in the Santa Cruz Mountains. The entire audience was naked.
Ranch without taking a look at one of the rooms where the girls actually work.
For 14 years, Ann and Ross entertained and informed the Bay Area. In 2018, Ann's co-host, Ross McGowan, had nothing but praise for Ann.
She is such a lively, energetic, wonderfully talented woman, and I'm much more laid back. I mean, if the show was just me, I mean, the audience would have been asleep.
Ann Fraser was born in Evanston, Illinois, and died peacefully near her family in Milwaukee, Oregon.
This note, Ann actually died last December, but her family only made the news public this weekend. Before coming here to Channel 5, Ann had a New York theater career, which was news to a lot of people here at the station. She actually performed Brigadoon at the White House for President Kennedy, an event that was organized by his wife Jacqueline to honor the King and Queen of Morocco. 60 Minutes is next.